Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the VOD Squad, the show where we talk about streaming technology. This is episode 142, July 24th, 2019. I am Clyde, and today I am joined by Matthew Ross.
Hey there.
Back from San Diego Comic-Con adjacent couch resembling Seinfeld. Jimmy Trammell.
Hello, everybody.
That was almost a coherent sentence. And Michael asked him.
Almost.
And Michael, thank you for not breaking XSplit tonight.
Yeah, I decided that I should stop doing that. It was getting to be a pain.
Yeah, so I have to ask, was that couch comfortable or not? Because it didn't look like it would be a comfortable couch, especially sitting out in the sun.
It was not. And, well, of course, you know, it's San Diego. The sun's not so hot there.
No, but
right?
still, when you leave, as a kid who grew up with cars that all had vinyl, even in San Diego where the sun isn't as hot, when you hop into that car with shorts and you don't put a blanket or something down, yeah,
you some skin behind.
You leave a lot of skin behind.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, my shorts were long enough to where that didn't happen.
Oh, good.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a picture. Yeah, for those that don't know, that was a picture that I sent to, you know, these guys of me outside of Comic-Con in San Diego. I was out there visiting family.
He went to play golf.
And I was playing golf as well. Right. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I'll show my,
There you go.
you can see Torrey Pines right there. My balls, the Titleist balls they give you when you go to Torrey Pines there.
Yeah.
So anyway, in the U.S. Open 2021 U.S. Open is going to be there, and I played the very course that they're going to play on in 2021 for the U.S. Open. Nice. So yeah, very nice course there.
So,
and,
do you think you're going to be able to compete?
No, not a chance. I only parred maybe. I mean, I just don't have enough time to play, right? I mean, that's the thing, right? You know, once upon a time, you know, I was a pretty good golfer at once upon a time, but nowadays, when, you know, I get to play, maybe I can count on one hand the amount of times I get to play per year, right? And so just not quite enough to compete with the PGA.
The greatest compliment I ever got about my golf game was when my dad, it was actually, I think, the last time he played, he said, I have never seen anybody play so badly yet have such a great time. I love golf.
I used to play golf a little when I was a kid because my grandpa always loved to play golf. He was a groundskeeper at a golf course, and so he would be able to get me in and play around with him. And a slice is where it goes to the right? And I've got a horrible slice. At least I still did when I was a kid.
If you're a right-handed player, yes.
Means,
exactly.
Yeah, you're probably flipping your wrists. Or
Don't know.
I mean, you're going under. I had to learn to flip my wrist to keep it from slicing. Yeah. Because you want to pull it, like, when you swing.
Oh, okay.
And then it makes it go.
All I know is that I was okay. I probably could have become this okay golfer as I got older, but I'm sorry, I never enjoyed it. It wasn't my game.
It will be fun to see when the U.S. Open happens in 2021 that if some of the pros actually bogey the holes that I parred, Uh,
You're like,
that likes
yeah.
would be pretty good, right?
Okay, put it on the calendar. Jimmy's watching the 2021 golf tournament,
Oh, absolutely.
and he's going to make sure he's got his scorecard next to other people's scorecards. Like, I can do that course better than this guy, and that hole's hard. I can see why he did that. Oh, I beat him on there though. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you got it.
But a
That's
lot of that has to do with also pin placement and yeah. So
yeah,
now
exactly.
if they get the exact same pin placement, oh yeah, you bragging rights.
Yes, I would.
Alrighty. Well, on that note, why don't we dig into some news?
Okay, we're gonna start off with the fact that Netflix is dead.
Oh,
So it's good, dead. It's done. Forget about it. Netflix. You can go ahead and just decide that they're never gonna watch Netflix again because it's obviously dead, right?
yeah.
Well, okay, maybe it's not dead. It's it had a quarter release where they went ahead and announced that they were able to add 2.7 million subscribers this quarter. That's a lot less than they expected. They were expecting 5 million, so something happened. That's for certain. But because of this, there was a huge announcement about how all the different news agencies are like, "Oh no, Netflix is losing customers," and all that. And guess so that meant that they basically lost about what is that, $17 billion in value in their stock in one day. So yeah,
Wow.
the naysayers are saying that it's going to be dead. I hate to be the guy who maybe I don't understand. How is gaining 2.7 million subscribers a bad thing in any month?
Well, when it's down from like 6
To 5
to
million,
10,
yeah.
Well,
in that range,
a
then
couple of things. First, remember that's not a month; it's a quarter, right?
Yeah.
Also, they're not cash flow positive right now, so
Okay.
that's one of the real concerns that the analysts have is that when you're not running cash flow positive, to not continue your projected growth. Now, that's not to say that they're
movie
not
pass.
making money at all. Like they're making really good money, but ultimately the amount that they're spending on the new content outweighs what they're bringing in subscriptions. That's what they're doing with the money they get from the stock, from investments and stuff like that. So I mean, I think that's kind of the important thing, and that's why it took such a big hit. If they don't see the continued steady growth, then it's a longer projection to getting to that point where they're making money on a quarterly basis,
Okay.
and that's what's to be clear, free cash flow positive. So
So that makes a lot more sense. I didn't realize they were still in the red. So
yeah.
okay. I mean, you think they've been around for so long? You think with them raking in, I don't know how many millions of subscribers with their at least $10 a month
Yeah, but when
plans.
they're spending billions on shows that end up
I
getting
know.
like shelved, or like pulled after one season, eh.
Yeah, I get it, but it's still that makes more sense now. But it didn't. My brain didn't put it there. My brain was like, well, they must be raking in the money, and they must be worth so much.
This doesn't surprise me at all because this is something that we've been waiting for 2 years. I mean, ever since we've been doing this show, anytime there's talk about Netflix and their, growth or whatever, it's always they are due for some sort of exodus. I mean, you can only there are only so many subscribers in the world. And
Unless you're inventing.
unless you're inventing them. So you're gonna plateau, which they were plateauing, and then you're gonna go through a period where you shed a bunch of subscribers, and then you get them back eventually. I don't think it's the nail in the coffin that some people are screaming about, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's gonna happen. It's business.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
go ahead.
so one thing I'll say is that okay, so they didn't hit the number, which I guess that's the reason for the 17 billion sell-off, right? But I mean that's just investors, right? But me as a customer, doesn't make me want to give up my subscription, right? I mean, I like Netflix. I'm not going to give up this subscription. I would venture to say anybody who is a subscriber right now is not going to cancel their account because of this.
You know, I've been in for at least a year. I've been in the camp where I would like to cancel my Netflix subscription, but there are other people that use it.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
you know, because I don't really watch a lot of stuff on Netflix anymore. 'Cause-
Well, I
so-
mean, and I too will admit that I don't watch as much on Netflix as what I used to, right? But
But that's
still, it's still a good enough utility to where I don't think that I'm ready to give it up, right?
I mean, I think there's a couple of really important things, right? Like the last quarter had some big things, right? They increased prices,
Mm-hmm.
service, and they also didn't release very much significant content last quarter. And you know, there's a couple of things important about what you both said. First of all, it's that you want to, but you don't because of other people. So that's one of the reasons why Netflix isn't going away, and they're not.
Mhm.
And their increase may have slowed partly because of price hikes and decreased content releases during that quarter. People aren't really leaving, and it's not going down because of the vast broad array of content that they have. It appeals to some people in most households. So even if you want to kind of get rid of it, I haven't watched Netflix in a month, you say, but my kids have, so I'm going to keep it for my kids. Now the price hikes, if they continue, eventually they will outweigh that concern. But my expectation is they won't. You know, they're kind of getting into that groove, and they're slowly adjusting the price a little bit as alternate options come into the fray. You know, you've got your TV solutions and stuff, which are really legitimately a direct competitor to Netflix. Those keep increasing their prices, and so Netflix is kind of playing with the pricing structure to figure out where the premium spot is. You know, I think the other thing to think about is, you know, where I sit, and you know, maybe where some of the other people that are not subscribing sit, is the fact that, you know, I subscribed to HBO when I wanted to watch the end of Game of Thrones, and then I unsubscribed a month later. I would have subscribed to Netflix just to watch Stranger Things if I hadn't already been subscribed. Now, I get plenty of enjoyment out of Netflix, but every year, no matter what I am doing with Netflix, I will resubscribe to Netflix to watch Stranger Things, at least for that month. So the fact that they didn't release much content last quarter, and the fact that people can subscribe and unsubscribe at will, indicates that this next quarter, where the one we're now in, where Stranger Things 3 did come out, and a bunch of other stuff, my expectation is you're going to see a huge spike in subscriptions. Then maybe some will drop off next quarter. We'll see what they release in the Christmas, the holiday season. But you know, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for them as people get more and more used to subscribing and unsubscribing at will. But the other thing to think about is the international market, right? They're pretty tapped out in the U.S., but their international market is still plenty of opportunity to grow and bigger. And, you know, I don't know what those markets are like, whether people subscribe and unsubscribe, or they, you know, binge watch, or they share one account for whole family or multiple families or whatever. I don't know how that works in other cultures, but there's still a huge opportunity outside of the U.S. They're definitely not tapped out.
I agree with that, Michael. You know, and one thing I've noticed with Netflix is that, you know, used to Netflix, and I'm speaking from the U.S. perspective here, used to, that was the place where you went to go see older TV shows, right, that maybe you didn't see before, you know, a season behind or something like that. And they still do that somewhat. But what I've noticed, you know, recently is that they seem to be doing a little less of that, right? And they're doing more of original content, and they're doing more international content, is what I've noticed. I know there's a lot of German shows that are now being, you know, popping up on Netflix now, right? And I watch those, to where these TV shows from the U.S. there seems to be less of that and more of the original content on the U.S. side. I don't know if that plays into this, for adding new subscribers or not, but it is a change that I've noticed, right? That they are, continually trying to, get more into original content. Maybe that is the reason for the drop off in subscribers, perhaps. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying, Michael. I mean, from the outside the U.S., I think the market is still huge, and I think they're still growing out there. Inside the U.S., yeah, okay, maybe people didn't get exactly what they wanted, or maybe the increased competition or something like that is making people look, try something different for a while. It could be a variety of things such as that.
Yep.
Okay. Hey, so Google announced some more information about their Stadia product. And,
Stadia. It's gonna catch on. I'm telling you.
Okay, they might just license that and make it a thing. So you never know. And if they do, I will give you credit.
All right.
They didn't ask me anything on Reddit, and a few more details that were kind of not clear have been cleared up for people. In particular, their $10 a month plan is a plan that includes all the services they already talked about, including the high definition 4K streaming and the higher definition audio and the higher bit rate, but also they will include about one game a month as part of their package. That the first game will be Destiny 2, the launch title that we've been talking with. But it seems like that $10 a month will also include one game a month for you to play. And they'll be yours, apparently, as long as you continue to subscribe. If you drop your subscription, those games apparently will drop off. But if you resubscribe, I don't know, do you get them back? That's not clear. Other things are things like there's some support for Bluetooth audio that they're working on right away. That looks like if you are playing using the Stadia controller, it's not going to be supporting Bluetooth audio at this time. It will work with some of the other solutions for Bluetooth audio, but they're going to make you use a plug-in jack for that right away. But they're working on making that available in the future. And last, there is plans for a family sharing account version of the service, which means you will be able to share your games with other people in the house, which is pretty awesome.
That $10 a month and you get a free game, that sounds like a reasonable deal.
Right.
I mean, this is not a net like the article says it. This is not a Netflix for games like some people thought. It's like Xbox Plus or Xbox Gold or PlayStation Plus. And yeah, $10 a month. I mean, and you get I'm curious what the selection of games will be. But I mean, if they're premium titles, yeah, $10. You can't beat
Destiny
that.
2, so I mean that's a top line title right now. So we'll see what the other months leads to, and if it continues to be top tier games, then that's a really
now the
great...
question is when I read that, I think that hey, every month you get to choose a game. But if it's like a subscription service and then they just give you a game, then that becomes less appealing to me because me personally, I'm very picky about the games I play.
Yeah. Xbox Gold did that, right? Like I haven't been with Xbox Gold for quite a while, but when I was with them, you get one game, or maybe it's two games. I think it's one game, but there's like always a 360 game as well that you can do, and sometimes that's compatible. But you get one Xbox One game a month, and it is selected for you. It is usually a pretty good title, and it's usually fairly enjoyable. But I agree. I don't play most games. I only play a fairly limited subset of games because I just don't feel like I have time to play stuff that's just mediocre. I only want to play stuff that I really love and really enjoy. So I think that's one of the reasons I didn't stick with Xbox Gold is because I didn't get to select the game. Now you do get discounts on the other games a lot of the times, and you can do stuff, but over time, I did build a decent collection of games as a result of my Xbox Gold subscription. I think I subscribed for like 1 year. So it's pretty cool. I might do it, but I think if I do it, it'll probably be more for the ensuring me to have the quality hardware that runs 4K streaming and stuff like that, as opposed to get that free game. And I'll still be buying the games I want because that's what I want.
The question I have is, has the time to do the pre-order to get the special bundle thing, has that run out? Did I miss the window?
You have November. You have until November.
Oh, cool.
So
I
the
keep
launch
forgetting.
date. So, my question is, if does Xbox Gold or PlayStation Plus work this way? And by that in fact, will it also work this way for Stadia? If a month comes up where, hey, this month, this awesome game you're interested in is available for free, can you subscribe then and get that game for that price? And then drop it next month and decide, I don't need it anymore?
Well, once you drop it, then, I mean, you
right?
lose the game.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's what they're,
keep the game all of the subsequent months that you're subscribed. I think that's how it works. Now, I could be wrong because
that's pretty much it. So, because when you're reading this story, you mentioned something about that. I'm looking for it, but yeah, that's part of that's the incentive to get you to keep giving them the $10 a month. Now, once you beat that game, then you cancel. So theoretically, you'll end up paying full price for that one game in that scenario and not get to keep it. That's like, what is it? Brian Brushwood was talking about how he did the PlayStation Plus thing for like 6 months. He paid to be able to play Spider-Man, and he ended up paying like twice as much as if he had just bought the stupid game.
Right.
And he kept forgetting to play it.
No!
Yeah, so.
Yeah,
it really depends. If you're a big gamer and you don't care and you just want to be able to play whatever they're throwing at you, sounds like a good deal.
I mean, the thing is that, right, like this is a streaming system that gives you access to state-of-the-art gaming hardware. And so that is really important. $120 a year to keep your computer running at fairly competitive levels, to be able to, like, for example, like they claim, run 4K HDR streaming. That kind of equipment, that kind of hardware is like $1,300 to $1,500, and you're going to have to update that at least every 3 to 5 years. So if you're paying, $120 a year, it's certainly less expensive to do, $600 over 5 years, and as opposed to buying a new computer that costs you $1,300 or $1,500 every year. So I think that's, from a value perspective, as long as they can deliver that kind of quality, the 4K HDR streaming quality, then this is super cost effective. And yeah, maybe you get a little bit of extra latency that is not optimal, so you wouldn't be like a competitive gamer on this. You can have a pretty good time, I think, with a few, an extra 50 milliseconds of latency or something.
Maybe. It's a big question of whether this is going to work at all, and I'm hopeful something works for one of these companies, but we'll see. So if you guys have been enjoying your Eurovision and watching watching their song contest, then you're doing something that I have no clue what there's anything about. Eurovision apparently is its own European singing talent show that has been popular in many places that aren't here. But hey, if you have been into it and you really wish you could see it, you can go ahead and log on to Netflix and watch some of the most recent episodes.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is, but the picture in this article terrifies me.
Have you ever watched America's Got Talent?
No.
Okay.
I think, they're more focused on just on the musical side of it, right? Like, I think it's just singing. So it's similar to like American Idol, but it's way bigger. I mean, the total audience is way larger than American Idol. And I think that they do like groups and stuff like that or something. I don't know hardly anything about it. Not at all interested. But great, sure.
Sure. Somebody's interested. And that person, unfortunately, they don't have the live streaming, which is what you really want. But you can settle
That's
for
true.
VOD after the fact.
Yeah, that's true.
Do they do
Hey.
voting like American Idol? Because that's the key, right? Like if it's not live and you can't vote, then what's the point?
Yeah, but then
That's
you
the
probably
point.
got to vote in like pounds and that.
Euro-
Shekels.
Euros.
Shekels.
Well, no, this is a British thing, isn't it? Oh,
No.
I don't know.
No,
You're right. It's Euro.
I mean that's the
division,
thing.
so
That's why it's
I
so
don't
huge,
know.
right? It's like it's got expands well beyond just even Europe and stuff. Like it's apparently pretty gigantic.
If they
But-
don't use dollars, I'm already out. So
All right, we're going to have a section here that's all about the things that were announced at Comic-Con, because there was a lot. First thing that got announced at Comic-Con is, hey, you Veronica Mars fan? Guess what? Season 4 out now. Go watch it. Okay, I don't care, but that's true.
I didn't need that because Hulu put it right up in my face every day as I opened up Hulu. Watch season 4 of Veronica Mars now. And I'm like, well, I haven't watched the first 3 seasons, so no thank you.
Yeah.
But beyond that, we have a bunch of other announcements that came through. I'll just go through a quick list of them so we can talk about whatever we want. We got things like The Witcher. We've got the new Dark Crystals show. We've got a Samurai's Dark Sound and Fury. All kinds of Disney Plus editions, including the ones that we're going to be talking about here shortly. But like WandaVision and my brain and like what was it? Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We have a Westworld season 3. You have a new Watchmen series. You have the announcement about Star Trek Picard, and also the announcement about the Star Trek Star Sex.
That was
animated series.
that was a different.
Quite Freudian. We have some shows from the new Harley Quinn movie coming out, a Snowpiercer, a new Terminator series coming. I mean, goodness sakes, a ton of new announcements have been announced, and I'm certain something somewhere in there is interesting to all of you. Maybe not all of it to any of you, but we'll see.
I just can't stop thinking about Star Sex.
I know. Picard. Ooh, no.
Yeah, so thanks for that, Matthew.
You know that if I don't have a snide comment, that's pretty far over the line.
Right.
So I'm super excited about a lot of this stuff.
Pick your favorite.
Else. The Witcher, probably the most exciting thing. I love the game. It's probably one of the best game series to come out in the last 5 to 10 years
But
at least.
this isn't the game.
No,
Right.
This is
No,
the
but-
book that the game wasn't like truly following, from what I hear.
no, but I mean, it wasn't. I've heard a fair amount about the books, though. I haven't read them, and it does sound like some of the important things that are exciting about the games do come from the books. Not all of it, certainly, but the characters and the general storyline conceptually is from the books, and it's a very interesting, dark, gritty world, and I like it. I think it'll be good.
In the TV show or the TV adaptation, are you only going to see the main character from behind like you would in the game?
Well, an hour every week watching Henry Cavill's butt. Why would you hire Henry Cavill to be his butt?
Because it doesn't actually have to be him. They can just slap his
Competition.
name on it.
That's
Prove it
Competition
isn't.
It
for
doesn't
Chris.
have to actually be him, but
It's competition for Chris Evans' spot. Come on.
I'm also super excited about Dark Crystal, childhood favorite, though I haven't seen the show in like 20, 35 years, probably 30 years. I remember loving it, and I'm excited about that. I've got to go back and watch that again.
I'm curious if the main character, played by Henry Cavill, will also have a badly digitally removed mustache, like Superman.
That's now a thing with him. You always have to do that.
Apparently.
Yeah. The one I'm excited about is Picard. Obviously, if you haven't seen the trailer of that, I'd invite you to go out and look at it. And it's not just about the Star Trek second generation. You have Jerry Ryan coming in doing the Seven of Nine character off of Star Trek Voyager. You see that in the trailer, so I think that looks quite interesting.
I'm just happy as far as Star Trek Picard goes. Is that I'm sorry, I enjoyed the new movies, the Kelvin timeline movies, but no, I'm sorry. I'd much rather live in this universe. I'm not that I don't that I there's not anything wrong with that other one, but in particular, I want to see which way this universe goes because, quite frankly, I think they screwed up the other timeline. So.
Yeah.
And like what Wabbit mentioned, Data also is shown in the trailer.
It Data?
Well, you don't know. I mean,
I saw something from Brent Spiner saying that he is reprising the role as Bob.
B4
or B4. Yeah.
Okay. They say okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
If you want to see what that means, watch the movie Star Trek Nemesis.
Yeah.
Halfway through the film, stop. Think, why the hell did Matt recommend that I watch this movie? Imagine me now saying this. I'm sorry, you had to know what B4 is about. That's why you're watching it. You may continue or stop if you wish.
You know,
and then if you finish the movie.
What else I can do is I can go to Wikipedia. And
better option. I recommend that one.
I'm also kind of excited about the Terminator series, right? I think this is one with, is it Linda Hamilton that's playing in this one?
Well, I mean, Linda Hamilton returned. She's been in pretty much every incarnation of the Terminator, other than the Sarah Jane Chronicles where Cersei Lannister fought robots.
Except for that one. And then, she wasn't the same Sarah Connor in that latest movie of Terminator Generations either.
Or Genesis?
Genesis.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
I thought.
No, she was in there, but it wasn't Linda Hamilton.
Okay. Maybe not.
All right. Well, I'm going to change the order of the news a little bit because I want to talk exactly about what Disney Plus and what it's bringing out for people. Disney Plus is releasing a whole bunch of different things that are very much has to do with the Marvel universe, and they basically, if you are into the Marvel universe, you're going to miss out on a bunch of information because there's a bunch of shows that are basically going to be required watching. Hey, Disney, what a genius way to get your people to watch your streaming service. Obviously, we have shows like Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We have WandaVision. I love the name WandaVision. It so does not sound like Wanda and Vision.
It makes me think of the Rick and Morty alternate television channel.
Exactly. You've got Loki. It's all going to be about evil Loki doing fun things. That should be nothing but fun. You've got probably what I'm most excited about, an animated series called What If, which allows you to explore the universe in ways that maybe it didn't go. And you've got Hawkeye. I mean, you're just a ton of different shows. That the question is this genius? Or is this going to somehow or another backfire on them eventually when they run out of stuff?
So I have a couple of questions about this. First of all, it says shows, and it doesn't make it clear like what that really means. Are we talking about miniseries, 3 episodes of it? Are we talking about a mini movie? You know, I don't know. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that sounds like a TV show, like something that will be episodic. It will go on for years and good. You know, others, you know, Loki and stuff, you know, I mean, they talk a little bit about what some of them are going to be. Like Loki clearly is described as something that's going to be kind of like an ongoing show. But WandaVision isn't described in a way that makes it clear if it's 3 episodes or, you know, 20 episodes a year for 5 years. So it depends on that. And also, I think super important is the quality. The thing is, like, they're keeping the name, you know, the big talent actors. Well, I mean, they weren't mostly A-listers to begin with, but they're keeping the actors from the movies, and they're continuing with all of these fairly big name actors now. I wonder what that's going to do for the budget as they start to look at episodic content and trying to match the quality and budget of what has been done in the past, and, you know, whether they can keep up the MCU quality and stuff. I totally love it. I think it's absolutely outstanding and awesome, and I'm all for it.
Well, so Al-Anon reminds us that WandaVision is actually a series that literally leads right into the new Doctor Strange movie, completely different doctors, that is going to be coming up later, which is Doctor Strange and what is it called? The Multiverse of Madness, the world's first MCU horror movie. That could be interesting.
I'm freaking stoked about that too. That to me sounds like, honestly, that is the biggest announcement that wasn't really a big announcement, right? Like, they didn't go into detail that much about it, but that was the biggest thing, because I liked what Brian said on
Cord Killers.
Yes.
Cord Killers.
Gosh.
I can't talk today,
about,
so it's
like,
all right.
getting into the Cthulhu, like, imagery and kind of tone and stuff. And to me, that's what, like, Doctor Strange should be all about. And so I'm really stoked about that idea, if that's the way it's going, kind of dark and horror-like. And
yeah, I think they will make it interesting. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well, Michael.
And on the bright side, this is all free to me because I'm already getting Disney Plus for the Star Wars content. So, like, to me, I just get this free. It's like getting Amazon Prime Video with my Amazon Prime account. This is awesome. I was not expecting this, and I get it all.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's rare that I have no opinion on any of this.
Okay.
Okay.
So, quick note here: Netflix has signed a deal with the Hollywood unions to make sure that their actors are being treated as they think they should be. It's basically guarantees certain jobs to be paid certain amount and a minimum wage for a lot of the different jobs out there when they are being hired by Netflix to make movies. So everybody knows that Hollywood is very, very unionized. So this seems like a natural step into the area of how things probably will be in the future. And I could see Clyde as I could hear his eyeballs rolling in his head.
I am trying very hard to not say anything.
Wow, is this episode the make sure Clyde doesn't say anything episode?
Probably. Yeah.
Well, he'll have something to say about this. The Orville has come back. It's going to be season 3. It's great. Yay! It's not going to be on TV. It's only going to be on Hulu.
So what's new?
Okay. I was just curious if anybody cared.
I mean, that's where I watch it already. So, yay. This is the first Star Trek that I've totally been into. And I love it.
You know, I still need to get into that. Maybe that's something I'll watch tonight.
Yes.
I have to get past the first episode because I started watching the first episode and was like the first 5 minutes.
And it's really hard for me, though, to divorce what's her face from her Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. character.
Oh.
Which one? His ex-wife / first officer. She was motorcycle riding badass on Agents of Shield.
Okay.
She was really, really good.
Okay. So here's a little thing for you guys. If you guys have a Google Home and you ask it to do various automation things inside your house, for the longest time, you would say, "Yo, Google, turn on the lights," and it would go, "Okay, 2 lights being turned on," or something like this. This is something that has annoyed me for a long, long time. Yesterday, I tried to turn off a light, and it just went, "Doo-doop." And I was like, "Did something break? Did I break it?" But the light turned off. Guess what? That's a feature. It's no longer
Hooray!
announcing it. This is the kind of things that we improvements that we want to get. It's really fun how it used to be, because you would try to say something quiet for to like turn off the lights quietly, but the volume set really high. So I'm like, all right, I'm turning off the lights really loud. It's like, oh god, this is a
I really like the example that they put in there. You about to fall asleep. Okay, Google, turn off the bedroom lights. Google Home responds, a bit louder than you'd like. Okay, turning off 2 lights. You, now wide awake, but at least the lights are off.
I love that, because I have the same problem with Amazon Echo, that like I use my Echo as my alarm. And so in the morning, I can mute it or snooze it and stuff like that. And it's okay with the alarm. But if I want to turn off the lights, it yells back, okay. And it's because often my wife has been listening to music throughout the downstairs.
Right.
It'll be really loud, and it'll just like turn off the kitchen light. And it's like, just yells out, okay, or whatever it says, something along those lines, and it's super loud, and then I know somebody else in the house gets woken up from that, because
So Amazon, you're supposed to have the whisper thing where you're supposed to, if you say it at a certain level, it tries to say it back at that level. Is that a feature you have to turn on?
maybe I need to do like an update or something. I don't know.
Now that's a pretty old feature, but the Google solution currently is what's called downtime, and you can set things so at downtime you can and can't do certain things, including a maximum volume level. And so you can actually, so at a certain time of the day, it just goes to whatever you set the maximum volume level for that speaker. So
Yeah.
that's the two current solutions. I actually like Amazon's solution better. That I wish it was relative to your loudness, it would say it back to you. I wish it would do that, so you could whisper it to it, and it would be able to whisper it back. But we'll
I
see.
like that. I think I'll have to look into it, because it definitely does not do that on my Echo Hub. Now, mine is old, right? Like, I got it as soon as they came out with the new generation, so it is that old. However long ago they came out with it, a year and a half, 2 years old.
It should still be able to do it.
Yeah, I'll have to look at that.
Okay. And last story tonight is a story for Jimmy here. LG's 2019 TVs are getting an update, and that update is going to give them Apple AirPlay 2 support and HomeKit support.
Oh, no. But Jimmy bought a 2018 TV from
Oh,
Sony.
I did.
Why
Oh,
did you get the
I did.
LG?
I did buy LG.
Yeah,
as
you
a-
did, but you got the 2018.
Yeah, you're right.
Man.
I'm so
That's
sorry.
okay. I got an
It's
Apple
time
TV.
to buy a
but-
new
Let's
one.
upgrade. Buy a new one,
But-
exactly.
But I've got an Apple TV, so it has AirPlay too.
But that OLED, it's old. It's almost a year old. It's like last year's trash. You
Yeah,
need a
well.
2019.
Yeah, well, they always do that, right?
And to ensure that it's properly disposed of, I'll send you a container to package it up with
And ship it to the
I'll,
white
I'll
wall.
dispose of it for you.
Ship it to the north wall there.
Yes. And again, they're not White Walkers. They're called Canadians.
Oh,
Oh yeah, that's right. Thanks for
I
that
wonder-
reminder.
Yes.
I actually do have one more story here.
Oh,
You guys remember in like our first episode?
No.
Our very first episode, we had this cool little device that we saw called the side click.
Yes, that was the thing that I desperately wanted because it added a volume button to my Roku remote, and I kept forgetting to get in the Kickstarter to get it.
Well, guess almost all the remotes now have a volume control.
They
for
do
your
now.
So, but they decided that they would make a new version of the side click. This one is the kind that will add a locator icon, a locator to your remote. It's called Beep, a name. I don't know if they named it that because it makes the remote beep or because it's like, where's the beeping
The
remote?
worst part is
I love.
almost every Roku remote already has this built in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I
But
just
they
have
have
to walk
several
over to the
many-
Roku and push the button.
I love in the article where it says, "There's a beep model for you." It's like the way that's phrased. Like you can't not have fun with the name Beep because it just sounds like you're like bleeping out curse words and
Beep,
stuff.
Beep is the nickname for my friend's daughter. They always called her Beep.
Well, I honestly like this. I know that I lose my Fire TV remote, and every time I can't find it, I think, man, this is reason enough to have gotten a Roku, even though I don't like my Roku as much as my Fire, because I just want to be able to find my stinking remote. I like it. I might actually get one of these because that's a pretty darn nice feature to not lose your remote.
I guess. I mean, yeah, for something like an Apple TV or a Fire TV where this feature isn't already built in, yeah, I could see that. But it's a silicone sleeve, the thing
Right.
we all learned to hate from Wii remotes.
Yeah.
Ugh, just the thought of touching that thing is like, ugh.
Oh, you're one of those. Gotcha.
It just feels so gross.
Oh,
Silicone
that's right.
goes inside the body, not outside the body.
So, in 5 years, what do you think SideClick will invent next? I know it'll be the little thing that'll help you find your remote assistant badge that you put somewhere,
Yes.
something like that.
They need a beep, beep.
A beep beep.
Yeah, to make the beep.
We'll have to
Button
get.
beep.
They'll have to get Warner
you
Brothers
can
to let
beep
them
your remote.
license. They'll have to get Warner Brothers just to let them license the Roadrunner.
Yep. Well, I mean, since the Plymouth brand was killed, there isn't really any competition for that licensing. So
There was also a brand of cable modems that were Roadrunner too. So yeah, who knows?
well, that was
The cable modem company.
it was Time Warner Roadrunner. Roadrunner was Time Warner's internet service.
Okay.
Which is also long since dead.
Exactly. All right, and well, that's the news of the week, guys.
Alrighty.
Excellent.
Hey, we made it. So quickly, before we move on to other things, this is the point in the show where we like to remind people that there is a Patreon, and there are amazing people out there called patrons that, for what reason or another, they see value in what we do, and they support us. And to those people, we salute you.
Yes,
we
we do.
thank you. You are awesome. And if you are not one of those people, but you want to be, we're not picky.
No, we're
There's
not.
no barrier to entry. There is no minimum. Well, I guess there is a minimum. It's like $1 a month, but that's a Patreon minimum. That's not our minimum, But yeah, if you see any value in what we do, you want to kick in a little bit. You want to have a little bit more say because the patrons, they speak the loudest. So that's patreon.com/the VOD Squad. And yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You know who else I want to thank? Big Voice Jay for his coverage of the movie draft every week.
Yes,
Welcome
indeed.
to your Movie Draft Minute, presented by DiamondClub.tv for the week of July 22nd, 2019. I'm your host, Big Voice Jay, brought to you by Spiders, your original web developers. Let's go to the scoreboard.
Ah.
Team Game Night's in last place with $211.5 million. Band of Bond Squad's in fifth place with $351.5 million. Team Drunk Kids Gaming gets $243 million from The Lion King. And fourth place with $642 million. Team Have a Drink is in third place with $775.2 million. Team Retro Misery gets second place with $947.7 million. And in first place with $1,253.5 million, it's Team Movie Party. That's your Stream Team Movie Draft Minute. All totals are accurate as of July 24th, 2019.
I just want to say something before we get into the movies. He just reminded me, my grandpa used to always say, how come you see cobwebs everywhere, but you never see any cops?
Is there a punchline to this joke?
That was the punchline.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever seen any cobs?
Yeah, in fields.
In your house making the webs?
No.
Exactly.
But I've actually never seen webs on cobs either. Unless you're talking about the actual, like the
Cobwebs. Find them. I see cobwebs up there. Don't know where they came from. All right. Well, guys, last week we made some predictions.
Yes, we did.
And what was my prediction?
Over $200 million by this time next week.
Likely close to 250?
Likely close to 250.
And what was the number?
It is currently at $243 million. I said
Pretty good.
I said 200 up to 200, maybe more, but you were definitely over 250. Your prediction was much closer. I don't know what that wins you. You're already winning the game,
just...
so
no,
whatever.
It was more to kind of poke at Jimmy because his belief that DKG is within reach.
Well,
So-
I still think we have a chance for fourth place.
Yeah, that was 250 for the first week.
Yeah, so it'll likely make at least half as much as that through the rest of its run.
Yeah.
Generally, that's what they tend to do.
We
And
need
I don't think Hobson Shaw is going to make 300, let alone
I
what
think
you guys
it will.
need to pass DKG.
I think it'll make 300.
Yeah, but that still won't give you enough to pass DKG.
I was going to say we need 325 to pass them where they are now.
And
By
then
the time
there's still got at least another 100 million in the.
Yeah,
They-
maybe. I mean, it depends, right? I mean, yeah, maybe not.
If
but,
Hobson Shaw does a breakout 500 million, I think you have a shot.
I think at this point we're trying to see if we can beat Have a Drink,
Yeah.
not Drunk Kids Gaming.
Well,
Have a
you're
Drink.
never gonna beat Have a Drink. Have a Drink says 775.
Right, that's my point.
Oh.
My point is Drunk Kids Gaming is going to pass Have a Drink.
Yes, they
Oh,
are.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can almost guarantee they will make at least another 100 million off of The Lion King. And as such, we're competing against Have a Drink, not Drunk Kids Gaming, which means we need to make $4.25 million in order to have a chance to
Good
get
point.
fourth place.
Good point. Good.
yeah, maybe so.
I mean, usually the drop off for the second week is somewhere in the 50 to 60% range, but that still puts them at 100 million.
Well, let me say it this way. I'm sure we'll make at least 500 million total.
I think we can do 500. That's another 150 million from Hobson Shaw. I think that's very likely, but I do not think we're going to be knocking on either Have a Drink or Drunk Kids Gaming's door by the time this is over.
Well, I mean, if
I think the probability, yeah, probably not, right? But my point is that there's still an outside chance we could do that.
but Jimmy could have literally knocked on their door when he was in San Diego. So
yeah.
All right, I want to take a moment and look at our choices for movies this year and what they ended up being. We started off with Ugly Dolls.
Which should have done more than what it did.
Quite frankly, it did much worse than we expected it to. We way over thought on that.
Yeah.
So-
that was a that was a doll line from over 10 years ago that people
Right.
didn't even know what they were called. And then they just put out a movie and
I want to
expected
say
people to be like, ooh,
I
catch
wanna-
a good
I
old
wanna-
fever.
I want to explain why we put that much money into it, and we need to analyze why that's why we didn't produce well. We thought it was basically the only kids movie was coming out for a while.
Right?
B, we saw all kinds of talent being put into
Voice
it.
talent was huge on this. Kelly Clarkson, Nick Jonas, Ice-T, Emma Roberts, like lots of big names
Right.
from a voice talent perspective. And so
Sounds
the
like Over the
expectation-
Hedge.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly true that these kinds of movies do flop, but it was one of those kind of things where there was a reasonable expectation that it would do significantly better than it did.
And we
did.
only spent $6 on it.
Oh, yeah.
And still, it just did not perform. So I
we should at least got
Horribly.
70 million or maybe 100 million out of it. It was what we were expecting.
don't know what happened there, but that's okay.
But didn't get anywhere close to that.
All right, next we got The Hustle.
Yeah.
Again, we saw star power there. We saw, things that looked like they were going to do really well. We also only spent $6 on it.
Yeah.
Now, we did a little better than we did with Ugly Dolls, but still not very well.
Yeah, I mean, like, the thing is, this movie was Dirty Rotten Scoundrels redone with women. And that, okay, you can make arguments as to why that wouldn't work, but at the same time, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels was an amazing movie. So they should have been able to make this outstanding.
Yeah, they should have been able to make Ghostbusters as women outstanding too, but they didn't. And it's like the same thing. It's
true.
Okay.
I mean, but they had reasonable talent, right? Like, I mean, Anne Hathaway is good. Rebel Wilson's funny. Disappointing because it should have been far better than it was. And
So, number 3, we chose. So it's pretty clear that we chose Ugly Dolls and The Hustle because A, we could get them super cheap, and B, we were hoping they'd be hits. They weren't that big investments for us. No big deal. Number 3, Rocket Man. Rocket Man is actually our best performing movie at almost, but not quite, $100 million.
that's
Which
our
is
bad.
really not a good sign.
This one did relatively poorly compared to what we expected. The thing that was interesting on this is that it actually had pretty good staying power for a while, but it started out slow. And so if you have some decent staying power when you start out really slow, you don't get anywhere.
Right. Then this next movie was the movie we spent the most money on because we were pretty certain it would at least make, $150 million at least. Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, I was surprised by that one.
That movie died on the operation.
It did exactly what it was supposed to. Actually, I think it did better than it should have.
I mean, what I was thinking was, I mean, you had some of the Game of Thrones stars in there, and
but they'd
and
also
coming off
been
the
in
Game of
previous
Thrones,
ones that weren't good as well. So
yeah, I suppose, but I expected it to perform better than what it did, but
I mean, here's the thing: like, the people that I talked to that went and saw this, they actually enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I'm an X-Men and a Marvel fan, and I didn't go see it. So that tells you something, right? Like, the people that they should have been, that they were banking on going to see it, they just didn't bother.
Yeah,
there was so much.
Oh,
other
you had
also
you had
this was
you had two other Marvel movies out, at the same time. I think maybe that was the problem.
It didn't matter. As Al-Anon pointed out, Dark Phoenix did as well as the studio let it. This was the last in this series, and they were just at the point where they're just like, whatever, just get it out there and just get it over with. contractually they're done, and who cares?
Okay, next
I
movie.
suppose.
The movie that actually has performed the best for us for the dollars we spent, Men in Black International. We spent only $10 on. It's made $68 million.
So terrible. I saw it. Well, I think that was the last movie that I was able to use my movie pass for, and it was absolutely terrible.
So you're gonna
Worse than I expected.
would
It
you
was
have
so
it on movie?
bad that
Are you gonna
when
have it
I
on
say
movie
I
night?
don't like something, it usually does good. This is proof that it was terrible.
It's the opposite exception to the rule
So
for the rule of Clyde. So I want to mark here a notice of pattern. The pattern is Ugly Dolls, The Hustle, Rocket Man probably doesn't follow this pattern so much, but Dark Phoenix and Men in Black International, all those movies basically thought might be decent movies, but pretty much everybody dogged on and said they weren't. Basically, the reviews for almost all these movies, except for Rocket Man at this point, everybody said they weren't very good movies.
I mean, here's the thing. This to me is the real measure. A lot of these movies should have been up my alley and things that I should have seen, like Dark Phoenix and Men in Black International, but I didn't see them. And I think that's just the pattern that we saw across the board, is that these movies could not compete in the climate that they were competing in. Maybe if they came out in a vacuum, no other movies coming out, early spring or, late winter type movies, they may have been able to pull decent numbers. But in the heat of the summer movie madness, these movies were nothing compared to what else was out, and they were not going to stand a chance. But they did a pretty good job of marketing some of them. Men in Black was well marketed, but
it was just terrible.
It was just not a good movie, right? Like those two actors were in Thor Ragnarok.
And their chemistry was great for Ragnarok.
They did great. So what the heck? I mean,
it was just a bad movie.
Yeah.
You make a bad movie with a bad script on a bad premise. You put the best actors you want in there, they're not going to save it. Unless it's intended to be like Kentucky Fried Movie or something like that, where it's supposed to be bad.
All right. And then our last movie that has come out is a movie that we actually decided, this could be a risky but big hit for us. That's why we decided to put a little bit more money in it yesterday. We thought this could be like that.
That wasn't your last movie.
No, it was the last one that has yet to come out.
Oh,
it's already come out.
But it's already out. It didn't come out yesterday.
It has. No, it didn't come out yesterday.
You said yesterday.
Exactly. Unfortunately,
third base.
He's pitching. All right. But yeah, this one we decided to put more money than we thought most people would be willing to get, but we thought it was worth the risk because we looked at our other movies at this point. We're thinking, we got some pretty good titles here. This will be a risk we'll put, and maybe it'll be a big return on our investment. Yeah. It's only made $60 million so far.
How much money did you guys have left over?
Only 15. We ended up, and I have the numbers here. We had $15 left over. We could not spend that money.
Yeah.
So we were blocked every time. And last but not least, our movie that's going to be coming out in a couple weeks. I sure hope we can make more than $100 million with this. I am just dreading that we can't.
It only needs to do about $1.1 billion for us to win. That's all.
Yeah, but I still have another movie coming, so you're going to need more than 1.1 billion.
No. So, Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw will be our last movie, and this was we know this one will make money pick for us. We spent almost as much as we spent on Dark Phoenix on it for $17 game dollars. If it doesn't make $100 million, I don't. it must be because it's a bad movie, and I think the pattern is next year we need to pick movies that aren't bad.
But
Okay, I think that makes sense.
You just do the whatever I'm bidding on, bid $1 more.
No. That I've told you that you're gonna totally screw with me, and I'm not running the show next time.
well, I mean, we could have just sit there and not bid on anything and just bet $100 on
Whatever's at the end.
on the
Last movie?
no,
No.
on the one Marvel hit.
Yeah, but
right?
that never
I mean,
works. That never
Yeah.
works. I would have lost because if I had gotten just I
mean that would have
Avengers,
been the easy that would have been the easy thing to do.
yeah, that's 855, and then all of my movies were redistributed around. Wouldn't have been enough.
Yeah, but
And-
we would be in 5th place.
You never know. That would suck to be in 5th place with 800 million.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd say my long shot. I spent $7, and everybody went, "Why? That is terrible. This is not going to make $1." It was a movie called Us.
Yeah,
I
you've
said,
made a
"Oh, it'll
huge
be
amount of money on
fine."
that.
And that was actually my second highest grossing movie behind
What?
Avengers.
What did that make, Clyde?
175
Oh,
for
pretty good.
$7.
That was
Pretty
a
good. Not
Also,
bad.
the other
Not
one
bad.
that was a wild card just only got it because I didn't want the $65 long shot to get it game night was The Curse of La Llorona. So I paid $4 for that, and that made $54 million. So
Yep, it was worth the money you spent.
You did the
Not bad.
opposite of us.
Not
You
bad.
underspent on every movie instead of massively overspending. I think it's interesting. I mean, like Us did super well for you. It's the number 4 R-rated horror movie of all time, right? Like that's huge. That's why I expected you to have way overpaid. It's because R-rated horror movies don't make that much money normally, and this one, it made a ton. It did
yeah,
really-
but it's also I was banking on the guilt of all the people that didn't go see the other movie.
Right.
About the going to meet the parents and the family and
Get Out.
All the people that were like, okay, I'm not gonna miss out this time. I'm gonna go see Us, and that's essentially what happened. And that's also what I'm banking on with It Chapter 2.
Yep.
So word.
Awesome.
All right, hey, since we spent so much time on that, do we have anything we want to rant or rave about?
A couple things if you want, but we can be quick.
Okay, I've got one thing, and I'll save it for a minute.
Okay. Mostly, I've finished Designated Survivor. Interesting way it ended. We'll see if it comes out with another season.
Did the designated survivor actually survive as designated?
He's no longer designated. I'll put it that way. They're gonna have to change the title of the show
Oh.
because he's no longer designated. Although they could just quit it there, and that would be an interesting way to leave it too. Finally, we're working on Stranger Things still, but I haven't been able to get back to it. But I wanted to mention to people. Almost everybody should already know about this. It's called How It Should Have Ended. It's on YouTube. Particularly, there's one about if you've seen Endgame. This is the end of Endgame, and there's like some questions of what a certain character does at the end of that Endgame that they don't show on the screen. If you've seen it and you'd like a good laugh, watch that. It's hilarious, and see how that movie's little unshown scene should have ended, and it's perfect. It's so hilarious. I recommend it for everybody if you've seen Endgame. That's it.
All right.
All right. I'll go next, and Matt, I'll second your Designated Survivor. I've not finished it yet, but still watching it. Really enjoying the series there. What while I was out in San Diego, I was just out there, and that's my brother-in-law and sister-in-law that live out there. My wife's sister is the family that lives out there. Me and my brother-in-law got to talking about old science fiction shows that we watched as kids, and one of them was the TV show UFO. Right, this is a British series. It was only on for about maybe 2 or 3 seasons, and it's really kind of funny to go back and watch that now, to see the sexism and that kind of thing in the show and all. But it was but one of the main reasons why we watched it as kids because of all the science fiction that was in there. It had the cool cars and the cool techs and that kind of thing. And this was a show that followed up after the original series of Star Trek, right? But we found the show. The show is actually out there. If you subscribe to Amazon Prime, you'll have the show available to you there in Amazon Prime. If you like old, cheesy science fiction type shows, then this will be the show for you. So we watched a few episodes, really enjoyed it, and I'm going to continue the series because, I remember this series as a kid and used to watch it all the time. So yeah, if you haven't ever watched this show or just curious about a cheesy old science fiction show, then yeah, I'd recommend this one. It's the show UFO on Amazon Prime.
Yep.
Very cool.
Mike?
I haven't watched a lot. I did watch a series called The Order, a Netflix original. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. I don't know that I would say it was an excellent show or anything, but that was pretty fun. So probably worth watching if you're kind of into the occult, supernatural horror type magic stuff. It was good.
Very cool.
Excellent.
All right. Well, let me just start out by saying on Sunday, I witnessed humanity's greatest achievement.
Oh yeah.
I saw Iron Sky 2, The Coming Race, in the theater, and it was awesome. It was a bit of a struggle because when I went to the theater, I went to the counter and I asked to buy a ticket, and the lady said, "What movie?" No, we don't have that movie. No, and she proceeded to tell me that no, look through the list. No, it's not playing, and I had to go to the website and bring it up and show her the show time, and then she went, "Oh, okay," and then they sent me to a theater. They said it's in Theater 7. There's a picture of my ticket, which Iron Sky Films retweeted, that said Theater 7. I get to Theater 7. It's a 9:30 showing. The marquee, the digital marquee outside the theater said some other movie at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
So they didn't even bother changing that.
Nice.
We went in, my friend Haley and I were the only people there, but then we were joined by 3 other people that all walked in going, "Is this the right theater?" And holy crap, I am so glad that I pitched in to crowdfund that back in 2013, and it was worth the 5-year wait. I know Al-Anon saw it. BK saw it.
Very cool.
It's already out for purchase. But if you can find it in a theater, I think most places are only showing it like through this week. Definitely see it in the theater. They took that franchise in a direction I never saw coming. And make sure you sit through the credits. There's a important thing that happens. And it was awesome.
Very cool.
So awesome. All right. Well, on that note, this was also awesome. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thank all of you that showed up to razz us and participate. Reminder, head on over to tvs.showbot.tv. That's where you can vote for those titles that we've been submitting. We'll pick a winner in the show or in the post show. And to anybody watching this after the fact, yeah, we do this live. And there is stuff where you can participate. So you should join us. 9 p.m. Central every Wednesday here on Twitch. We are the VOD Squad. Signing off.
Bye.
This is going to be weird.